my fellow pottery loving friends. Today we're gonna be making some sprig molds. In case you're completely new to sprig molds, this is my first ever plaster creation. So I'm just gonna demonstrate really quickly. You just literally stuff it in there, and because the plaster sucks up the moisture from the clay, within a couple of seconds you are able to take out your creation and you get a little guy. This is Steven. I love him, he's amazing. So I have this idea in my head, which I'm not sure if it's gonna work out or not. I basically want to create a cup handle in the shape of a bat wing because I am who I am. So I created these two little templates from clay. There is no particular reason why one is black and one is not. I just had some leftover white clay. And these I'm gonna use as a mold for my plaster mold. I don't know what's the opposite of a mold, the other thing. And if it works out, I'm gonna be able to use them as a sprig mold and then connect the two pieces together and attach it onto a mug and just be like, so hopefully that's gonna work out. I'm gonna put in the description box everything that I'm gonna use for this because I am pretty sure I'm gonna forget something. The main thing we're gonna need is potter's plaster. I strongly advise you to get plaster from a pottery supply store because otherwise your creation is gonna look very different and not what you want it to look like. I'm also gonna be using this little plant saucer as my mold. So the idea is that we're just gonna place these bad boys in here, pour the plaster on, and that's gonna leave the imprint. I suggest something where you have at least like about 2 centimeters of space on each side, just because plaster can get really crumbly and like the edges can fall off and you don't want the part of your mold to fall off. I'm also gonna be using a bucket for mixing the plaster. You can use gloves for actually mixing the plaster. I don't have any, so I'm not gonna use any. I wish I did, but I forgot to buy them, unfortunately. For the bucket, you want to use something that you can squish, primarily because it makes taking out the plaster afterwards so much easier. Actually, I'm not gonna be using this one. I'm gonna be using a smaller one. But plastic is the way to go, silicone if you can, but plastic is probably the best. I've never actually made sprig molds with clay, so this is gonna be interesting, but I hope it's gonna work out. If not, you're never gonna see this video, so it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go outside, make my preparations, and I'll catch you up later. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, so I accidentally broke this one, so I had to perform some emergency surgery, but it looks okay now, so hopefully it's gonna be fine. So I think we're ready to start mixing. So I'm gonna be using this beautiful Soviet era bowl that I found at my grandma's house to mix my plaster in. When it comes to knowing how much water to use, I basically like to estimate how much plaster I'm gonna need in the molds that I'm using and add just a little bit of extra on top of it just in case. So I'm just gonna eyeball it, add some water in here, and then we can start mixing. So this is my amount of water. I'm just gonna double check that I've got everything I need. I think we're ready. So I'll be using a yogurt cup to basically slowly start adding the plaster into the water. It's supposed to help with clumps, but it's also a little bit easier to pour the amount you need into the molds. There definitely is some kind of ratio or something that you can use for measuring your plaster, but we kind of like to freestyle in this household because it means that I don't have to remember anything. So I'm just using the island technique, which basically means that you're just gradually adding plaster until it's no longer sinking to the bottom. If you're feeling super extra, you might use a sieve to actually sift the plaster in, because then there's gonna be fewer clumps. But apparently I'm not feeling extra enough today. Oh, we've got a little island starting to form here. All right, I think that's good enough. So let's start mixing. This is kind of the consistency I was hoping for. It's like pancake batter on the thicker side. I'm just kind of trying to squeeze out all of the lumps right now. As you can see, there are some plaster lumps in there. All right, I think we're good. So I'm gonna move you over to my mold station. Just gonna wipe my hand on this real quick. Ugh. Sensory nightmare. Oh, this is really heavy now. Oofta. So I'm gonna take my yogurt cup and we're just gonna start doing the damn thing. I read somewhere that it's good to pour it in one place only, again to minimize bubbles. And now we're just gonna shake it, baby. Shake it and slam it to try to get as many of the bubbles out as possible. All right, second round. Babies have been shook. They are shooketh, one might say. Now I'm gonna wash my hands, clean up a little bit, and we'll come back in like half an hour to check on them just to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. One more important thing, do not wash all of this down the drain. I'm gonna wash my hands in this little bucket here, and then I'm just gonna spill it somewhere in the garden because you don't want that clogging your pipes, honey. So it has been about 30 minutes. My girls are looking mighty fine. They're looking nice and matte. They're nice and warm, which is a good sign. We can start demolding. Oh, this one is really warm. That's so nice. Oh. All right, I'm gonna position you so you can see. Moment of truth. So I'm just gonna loosen the edgionis a little bit, and then we just flip. Or no. Okay, so some plaster got underneath the clay, which I was worried about, to be honest with you, but it's okay. We can salvage this, I hope. I was thinking about attaching the clay somehow. I'm gonna have to figure something out so that this doesn't happen next time I do this. I'm just gonna scratch some of this plaster off so that we can reveal the back wings underneath. Alright, all is not lost. At least we might have one potential non-failure. I'm gonna let this dry, and I'm also gonna do some cleanup on these undercuts here. So I completely forgot that I was making a video about these, but here are our Batwing espresso cups. I have just put some matte black glaze over them, and we're gonna see how they turn out when they're fired. I'm really excited to see them. So far, I am very satisfied with the process, and it's definitely gonna save a ton of time. I'm actually thinking about creating some sprig molds for spikes, because I put spikes on a lot of things. And it's very time consuming, and I really hate making every single spike individually. So that's where we're at right now, and I'll see you here for the big reveal. The day is here, the final reveal is here. Here is our baby boy. So emotional, oh my goodness. So I actually had two of them. This is the one I made for the first time ever, I think. This was my second attempt, so it looks a little bit better. I already wasted no time whatsoever making my morning coffee into this one because I just couldn't resist. Just for demonstration purposes, works exactly as I imagined. I am obsessed with it. I think it looks so good. Like I said, I put the matte black glaze on top of it, but unfortunately it looks more brown than it looks black, but at least it's matte, it's not shiny. Unfortunately, I am limited to only being able to use the glazes we have at this co-working pottery studio, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to achieve a true black, at least not until I start making my own glazes or start using my own glazes. Other than that, I think our project has been very successful. I cannot complain, honestly. I'm gonna make a ton of these. They're gonna be available for purchase in my shop once I launch. Again, sign up for shop updates if you'd like to. Yeah, so satisfied with this. So I would say that for the most part, our Sprig Mold project has been a great success. And now I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my espresso out of this cool ass cup. So I hope you enjoyed going on this little experiment with me. Let me know what you think about the final product. And as always, likey, subscribers, there's a ton more pottery videos coming, so make sure you don't miss out. And I'll see you here for my next one. Bye!